What up, guys? Comment and welcome to a new behind the scenes video for Traitor Prequel, the planet that started the war. So today I have a Traitor Prequel work in progress to showcase, mainly because I haven't done one for a while and I think now is as good a time as any to show off what I've been working on since 5 months ago when I released the latest trailer for this Traitor episode. So without further ado, the first thing I want to show off is the clone models. Well, actually not the clone models, the clone textures have gone through a visual overhaul. If you remember in the trailer for the last trailer I uploaded, 0450's markings were dark blue rather than cyan, which is not how they appear in the Clone Wars TV show, so I've altered that to make it more canon accurate. As well as that, I've not only changed the markings on him, but all the other clones as well. But you don't really see that in the trailers, but it's just something I thought I'd make a point of. But I've also added more wear and tear on the armor as well, which adds more of a used look rather than a brand new shiny armor look that was shown in the trailer, especially when the environment the clones are on will be Geonosis, and there'll be some sand markings on there as well, which you can see on the Commander Cody and the R Trooper model that's being shown on your screen now. Now, do take into account, while these renders are all in Unreal Engine and they are all rendered in the same way that I render scenes of the actual Traitor episode, these have not been post-processed for the purpose of adding raw content and showing you what they're going to look like as they come out of Unreal Engine. And the main reason for that is because so I do post-processing based on the environment that the characters are in. In a render environment, you can't really do that. Now, be aware that the way that this environment has been set up as well is for the purpose of showcasing models in an even light, and this will change within the different environments that I will use the characters in. Now, there will be sand texture on the other clones as well, like 0450 and other clone troopers as well, but I haven't got to the development stage where I need those sandy textures on the clones yet. But when I do, they will get much the same treatment like Cody and the R Trooper do. But more on Cody and the R Troopers later. Now, I want to showcase some screenshots from the scenes that I've rendered and post-processed in Premiere Pro at the moment. So here's the first one. Now, do take into account that what you're seeing here may not be the final version that you see in their actual episode, as there may be some slight changes to color correction and bloom or any of the other effects that I've added. So these scenes are all subject to change. So anyway, this first screenshot is from 0450 and Rex talking about the upcoming mission on Geonosis and getting a small rebrief on the mission ready to depart later in the episode. As you can see in this image, the text on 0450 looks so much better than they did in the trailer. It went from looking really shiny and new to marked and worn, as well as the markings on the helmet and the chest plate and the rest of the body being more accurate colour to what the canon colour should have been at the start. Now, you get a glimpse of Captain Rex this episode, or in this little screenshot, and while you won't see him much in the actual episode itself, he will pop up a couple times. However, I'm really happy with the way he came out. I did a couple of attempts doing Rex before and doing markings freehand, but it didn't look that great. So I found some alpha templates for the markings, and once I'd done that and used those, that made it so much easier to do in Substance Painter, and it looks so much better because of that. So the second image again features Captain Rex, but this time as a hologram. And in this scene, it is Rex alerting 0450 that the attack on Geonosis has not gone as planned, and he is to mobilise his forces ready to reinforce the Point Range landing zone. This scene is one that I mentioned in a video recently that I said I wanted to show off, but I couldn't because of spoilers. And while dealing with the story is a part of this scene, but also with the technology inside and effects that I have in place that make this scene really look great. However, while I think this scene is the best scene that I think I've made so far, I have to admit this scene was one of the most difficult scenes to render because of how Unreal Engine works software-wise. Now, while Unreal Engine is a good software to use, pushed to its limits, it's very unstable. I could not count the amount of times this save crashed my entire PC and forced me to redo the progress that I had made since I last saved it. And because my autosave runs every 15 minutes, if it crashes right before that 15-minute mark, I lose all that progress. So I have gotten into the mentality now of every 5 minutes saving it myself, but at this time I needed to get myself into that mentality because I didn't know that Unreal Engine would crash this much when doing something like this. Now, the reason why it crashes, this particular save crashes, is not because of the environment itself is particularly difficult to render on its own, because it's not. But all of that, with the addition of the metahumans, so Admiral Axel in the scene, for some reason it adds so much more pressure on Unreal Engine, and very often has caused it to crash. And it also 10x's my render times as well. So for a 6-second render, I was waiting about 50 minutes for it to render, when normally it would take about 15 to 20 minutes had the MetaHuman not been there. It's things like this that are really using up my time with this episode of Traitor, and why it's taken so long to do this episode. However, I now have a clear deadline in my head of when I want this episode to be finished by, and as soon as I know if it's achievable or not, I will reveal it. However, while this has taken time to create, when it comes to me doing Traitor 3, all of these little teething problems that I'm facing with Unreal Engine and other programs as well, I'm using will either be non-existent for Traitor 3, or I know that they exist so I can allocate time to those particular scenes to not waste my time trying to fix something that I cannot fix. So the third and final image I'm going to show in this video is of Admiral Axel on the Venator's bridge, receiving the order from CL450 to jump into hyperspace. Now, Admiral Axel is my first time using or actively using MetaHuman in this story-like environment. I've used him in a demo that I released a while ago, but I've learned a lot about how MetaHuman works since then, and while still not perfect due to the limitations of MetaHuman and Faceware, it's definitely something that I'm really impressed with, and I will push this episode of Traitor to the next level by finally being able to have characters that actually have faces show up in Traitor, rather than have everyone wearing helmets like I was restricted to before. Now, there isn't actually much else I can say about this image, because there isn't really like an awful lot going on. It's more just like a technological step for me showing you that this is what the future episodes of Traitor can be like. Now I can actually add faces to Admiral Morden, who's the Admiral of CL450's capital ship from Traitor episode 1, as well as having other officers having movable faces as well, which is such a beyond belief, and I cannot wait to finish this episode and crack on with Traitor 3. Now I want to move on to an in-engine environment. Now this is the point where landing scene in Unreal Engine. Now, while I said before the images from before are fully rendered, the environment is very work in progress. I'm actively working on it at the moment, to the point where I haven't even got any animations for these characters yet, because I'm still working on the environment and the lighting. But you get the idea of what I'm trying to get at. And like I was saying before, look at how the models look different in different lighting environments. But you get the idea that in the turnstile video, you can see how the sand seemed very like bright and shiny. But here, because of the sandstorm particle effect you can see around, like surrounding the environment, it sort of darkens the environment a bit, and it makes the sand in the armor blend in, look more natural, not so out of place. However, this point where landing scene is going to show the full extent of Unreal Engine, and one that I've been working on both in my head and in engine since I finished the rough draft for this episode, because I know how I want this to look, and if I can do it, it's going to be insane. I can't wait for you to see it. Now, the final thing that I want to show you is something I've purposely left till last, because it links somewhat to the point where landing scene. Now, what you see on the screen now is a full body motion capture using VIVE trackers. Now, while not perfect, the addition of this to my arsenal of technology means that not only will animation flow better, but it means I can be more acrobatic, shall I say, in the scenes that I create, and I can maneuver my feet and create some really cool action shots with motion capture to make the scenes for Traitor even more interesting and lifelike. These renders were what pushed me to actually do this video in the first place, because I was going to post these clips on YouTube as blank video with no commentary and a bit of music in the background. But I thought I'd do a full work in progress at the same time, so here you are. I have so much that I want to show you when the time is right, and when the time is right, I will reveal them. But I don't want to show you things that are not done, or things that may spoil the episode. I'm actively planning out a new trailer in the back of my head while I'm doing just day-to-day life things, and I'm making more progress than I thought this episode, so it won't be long now. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this little work in progress video. I don't know actually how long it's going to be. Well, my recording says 10 minutes. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video and enjoyed this little work in progress, just to show you what I've been doing in the background. And again, I'm trying. Traitor, I've got more progress on it than I actually thought I would do. I'm basically doing like one scene a month. The smallest scenes I can do about 2 a month. So I've got a deadline in my head of when I think I'm going to get this episode done by, but it just takes time. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did enjoy, don't forget to smash the like button, hit the subscribe button for more awesome gaming content, and I shall see you all later. Bye!